In this video, we're going to learn how to make our plastic bag woven pouch. So far, we have been making our plastic yarn, and now it's time to actually start weaving it. Weaving just means interlacing thread or material. So we are going to be interlacing plastic yarn. What I have here is a cardboard loom. There's so many different types of looms, that's L-O-O-M, but we are going to use a cardboard one, and we are going to use the front and the back because we are making a pouch instead of a flat weaving. Our weaving will be 3D and not 2D, meaning we can open it up and actually stick objects inside, okay? All right, so to get started, you have your loom and you're going to grab some string. I would not use a color, I would use something that's white. So we want to wrap it in a certain direction. So we're going to kind of guide, I'm going to guide you to how to do that. So you're going to take the tail coming off of your yarn ball and you are going to wrap it to the back. Then you're going to grab a piece of tape and you want to tape the end flat. Grab a pencil or a pen, write your name on the tape so we know whose it is. Don't forget to write your name. You will get it lost with someone else's, okay? It's taped in the back. It's kind of angled a little bit so you can kind of distinguish it from the other threads. And what we're doing is we are adding the warp thread onto our loom. Warp is just a fancy word for the vertical threads of a weaving. Warp is vertical. Now that it's on the back, I'm going to bring it through the first slot. Now it's in the front. Instead of just randomly going to one and making my string angled, I'm going to bring it to the one that matches it at the bottom. It should be a straight vertical line. Now I'm going to wrap it on the back like this and not go through the second one, but go through the same exact one that I just started. Right? So from the top, vertical, flip, bring it up, and bring it through the same exact one. Here we are on the front again. Get some more string out as you need it. Then I'm going to pinch my finger right here and bring it around the second little tooth. These are little teeth, and then these are the little slots, right? So instead of just going down and making it double, I want to bring it to the side like this, flip it, and look, now I'm on the second slot. I'm going to do the second warp thread. Bring it down to the bottom, flip, and bring it to the top, right? All right. Now, if I just went back down like this, it would be double again. So what I have to do is pinching it on the back, I have to bring it around this tooth. So it's wrapping around this tooth, but now on the back side. Let's make sure my string does not tangle. Okay, we're back on the front. We just wrapped this way. The reason I'm wrapping it kind of like that is so that it won't be angled as we're putting it on, but that it is straight on the front and the back. Take the thread, bring it down, wrap it, bring it through the third one. Look, if I keep going down, it's going to be double. So bring it to the next one. See how we do that? Bring it to the next one. Now we're on the back. Bring it down, wrap it up, bring it back. If I go down, it'll be double, so wrap it around. Oop, I have a little bit of a knot there, but that's okay. And, yep, back up. Wrap it. Bring it back. And basically, you are just repeating this whole step the entire way until you have wrapped on all, really just double check, make sure you're not skipping over one, go to the same one. Can't go double, gotta go over. Yeah, make sure you're checking yourself. Do this part slowly so that you know you get it right. If you get the wrapping wrong when you're doing this, you kind of have to redo the whole thing. It will mess up the whole weaving. So just go slowly. You'll be good. Wrap it to the side. So you can kind of see there's these little horizontal strokes on the front and the back. That is so that we get it vertical on the front and the back. Make sure you are pulling tightly, but not extremely tight as you do this. So I'm kind of holding my thumb on this so that it stays nice and tight as I do it. All right, so I noticed there's a tooth that is just literally gone off the loom, so I can't use that. So I'm about done. Okay, let's see. Yep. All right. So now, I've reached the finish line. Have I? Wait, hold on. Okay, there we go. Now I've reached the finish line. Okay, now I'm going to take my scissors. I've checked. Everything looks vertical on the front and the back. And I'm going to snip it, leaving, I don't know, about the size of your hand, that size of a tail. Grab some tape. And now here is just kind of the tricky part to tuck this tail underneath all of these vertical warp threads. So I'm going to just kind of lift up these and pulling it nice and tight. I'm going to bring it here, press down. Okay, that was the hard part. You did it. That's the hard part. And now after that, you are ready to actually tie on your plastic thread. So we're going to tie it on from the end, from my whole strand. I'm just going to choose the color that I want first on my pouch. For me, I want to start with white like I did on this one. And I'm going to hold the loop as if it's one thread. So I'm not holding the loop like this. I'm kind of pulling it tight, holding it as if it was just yarn. Picking up the first vertical thread, I'm going to use this side. Picking up the first vertical one, I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom. I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom, pulling this tail. I want to tie a knot here so that the yarn is attached to the thread. Now, I find the other end and I begin weaving. In weaving, the pattern is over, under, over, under, over, under. So at first, if you've never done it, it's going to take some time to get used to, but I promise you, after you've done it a lot, it just comes second nature. So this first one, I will start as over. The second string is under. Let's get closer here. So over, under, over, pick up the one it goes under, under, over, under, over, under. Every other string, your plastic yarn will go under. Every other string, your plastic yarn will go over. So you're checking over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way until you reach the other side. So I'm only really picking up the one that I go under. Wherever it goes over, it just automatically slides over. I don't have to like send it over, right? I just pick up the one it goes under, pull my my plastic yarn all the way through. The plastic yarn has a little bit of knots, which is why you just want to kind of gently tug them through. Until it has all the way gone on. Then I take my fingers and I just push it down. This weaving needs to be tight. I'm going to just give it a light tug right here so that it's not super loose. We never want any loops coming out like that. You want it nice and tight. Now I'm doing both sides, not just one side. So I take this entire loom, I flip it over, find the end again, and I notice how I ended that first row. This plastic yarn ended by going over. So on this one, I want it to be tight, which is why I'm going to start under. So I'm going to pick this first string up and go under. Under, over, under, over. Making sure I don't go over 2 at a time or under 2 at a time, right? All right, pull it all the way through. Turn my lights back on. And here we are. Use my fingers, push it down. Now flip it. So you do 1 row, flip it, 1 row, flip it. That's kind of how it works. Now, instead of pulling this all the way through every single time I weave a row, if it is easy to you, you do not have to do this, but if it's easy to you, you can use your finger, pinch it, and just wrap, wrap, wrap. Wrap a few times, slide it off, and make a little yarn ball. So pinching this, I'm going to take this other side. Now wrap it tightly around that little wrap I just created. This is to kind of just make it easier to weave through, but if you find that this is like too hard and it's not helpful, just don't do it. If it is easy to you, then do it. So I'm pinching it so that it doesn't just unravel. And I'm wrapping, and I'm trying to kind of change directions as I wrap so that it really does stay tight like a real yarn ball. And that's good enough for me. So now I want to hold on. If you let go, this will unravel. Hold on to that little ball. Notice how you ended. You ended by under. Now we're going to start, now we're actually going to start under on this first row. So what matters between each row is that you do the opposite from the one before. So my very first row, I started over. The opposite of over is under. On the second row, on one side, I will start under. Why? Because that is opposite of how I first started. So under, over, under, over, under, over. And pull, push it down. Perfect. I know I did the right thing because if I look at these on this first row, right here, the yarn went under, but on the second row, the yarn went over. Flip it, do the other side. Now pay attention. How did you start? Look, you started by going under, so the second row has to start by what? Going over. So weaving is kind of all about that over-under pattern. And if you can get that down, then you will be flying. Also, if you can get down remembering you have to be opposite from the row before, you'll be flying. You'll be doing good. Pull it all the way. Make sure you don't leave any gaps and just keep pushing it down. Flip it over. Do a third row. You started under, so on this third row, you start over. All right, friends, so you would keep doing that until this entire strand is gone. When you get to the end of the strand, to attach more, you want to leave some loop ready for you to attach some more. Oops. You would grab the end of a new strand . Get it untangled. Grab the end of a new strand and attach it. Okay, got a lot that we're working with. Okay, here we go. Now, I want to attach these two ends. This one's almost up. This one I need to add on so I keep going. So just like we've been linking all our chains, that's what you're going to do. So you have your two loops. Send the new one under the old one. Take all the entire strand, hold it in your hand like this, send it through this loop. Send this new strand, all of it, through the loop. And when you pull, look, you have a new bit of yarn to keep weaving with. All right, friends, so as you're doing this, I want you to think about also the pattern that you want. So maybe you want to do a large chunk of brown, a little stripe of white, and maybe a little bit of yellow. Maybe you want your bag mostly brown with some white at the top. We'll be learning the other steps to how to finish our bag later, but today is all about how to get started. So if you have any questions, ask me and talk to your neighbors. Good luck, friends.